Hi, in this video I'm going to take you through the final part of curriculum design where we actually look at models and methods for designing the curriculum itself. So in previous sessions and on previous videos we've talked about curriculum in context, so that is talking about what education's for, what curriculum is and what it means and how that fits within your particular sector, so putting that in context, and that's what you need to put in your essay. Analysing the curriculum, in there we talked about the 4 different models that could be used to set out how the curriculum could be designed. So we had the process product model, situational model, and the content model. So you need to talk about the pros and the cons of those and which model you think is happening within your subject area, and also put that on part 2 when you're annotating your scheme of work. The third part was inclusive curriculum, so ensuring that our curriculum is inclusive and doesn't exclude any particular groups. And for this case, we're going to have a look at curriculum design and look at some particular models. So this is slightly different from the models we've talked about previously. We've talked about models of curriculum, so how the curriculum can be set out, what the target, what the idea, what the object of the curriculum is. So for example, the product model might be to create an environment where you're going to teach someone stuff to become a particular type of person, say a welder or something like that, or to pass a particular test. Or the process model, where it was just all about the process of learning. So they're curriculum models. Now we're going to look at design models. So how then to put that into practice. So as usual in this section, you can see here there's a workroom, reading and key questions. For those that want to read ahead, definitely go into the reading room and find some extra stuff in there, particularly at PG level. But what we're going to look at in this particular session for curriculum design is what approaches can be used to design the curriculum, so what design models could be used, and then you've got to think about how that works within your particular curriculum and discuss, is your curriculum designed properly, do you think? How else could it be done? So make sure you mention alternatives. So if I just take you back to the sub menu there, I'm going to have a look into the workroom now. So I'm going to go into the workroom, the actual content itself, and in there's a few things to think about. There's some background reading on what it's about, designing curriculum, and how syllabus is chosen. So definitely have a read about those and have a think about it, because in there you can think about different factors that will affect the design. So it could be guided learning hours, it could be the funding that's available, likely students, the staff you've got available, and obviously the other stakeholders, which we talked about right at the start when we talked about curriculum in context. So let's have a look at that. And then once those things are in place, you would think about timetable and structure maybe, and how many sessions are needed. So that's all about the design. Now, to set about designing the course, there's a few models to have a look at. As usual, there's hundreds of other models if you look, but 3 key ones are something called linear model, spiral model, and thematic model. And if we look at those individually, you can see that the linear model is very much topic by topic. Do one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. And this is quite a common model of design. You'll see this everywhere, and you might have done this yourself. So week 1 we'll do topic 1, week 2 we'll do topic 2, and just go through it in a linear motion. It's brilliant, very well structured. You make sure you cover everything, and you can, it flows through, and one thing might lead on to the next. The difficulty with it is not very flexible. You pretty much got to make sure the learners are ready for the next topic, for the next week or the next session, because that's the linear approach, and it might be difficult to drop back in and follow it round. So it can be quite difficult because of its sort of structured approach. And so it might fit something like a content idea of curriculum. That would fit really well, and even a product idea, because you're leading up to a final product. What it might not do though is fit the process model very well, or the situational model very well, because situational could be work-based learning or project-based learning, where it could be very flexible. Therefore there's not one topic after another topic, it's all in there, and you've got to try and map it differently. So linear could be a bit difficult for that. And similarly with a process model, doesn't really lend itself to a journey of learning. It's let's get this content out. So that's the linear approach. The second approach I want to look at is the spiral approach. And that's very much about revisiting the curriculum on a number of occasions. So you could end up doing topic 1, 2, 3 and in a certain depth, and then topic 1, 2, 3 a bit deeper, and then topic 1, 2, 3 a little bit deeper again, taking that depth of learning, you know, a little bit further on each time. It's absolutely brilliant to be able to engage learning and get that depth of learning, also for revision and for really anchoring that within the learner itself. So it's brilliant for that. The catch is the learner might cotton on to the fact that they've done this before, and it could be very repetitive. So you've got to manage that very carefully and being really explicit about how the depth of learning is increasing. But the spiral design is good to re-anchor the learning, but you've got repetition in there, and also the time you've got to do it. You might feel you've not got enough time to go over things over and over again. So, you know, all those things need to be taken into consideration. The thematic approach is one where you get some general themes and design the curriculum around that. So each theme could have 4 or 5 different topics in it, but the theme is the key, and the theme helps everything flow through. Brilliant for work-based learning and project-based learning, because the project itself could be the theme, and then you could do project management in there, you could do maths in there, you could do a bit of science and whatever, you know, you can do that. And schools do it a lot when they talk about themed approach, when they do something on, I say, the Victorians, the theme for the curriculum, when in fact in there you've got history, maths, geography, science from the Victorian times, loads of different things. So it brings it all together. I mean, English, you can get that into there, into Victorians, and Victorians is the theme. So it might be that that's the best way of designing your particular curriculum. So what we've got there, when you come to designing a curriculum and when you come to annotate your scheme of work for part 2, really think about which design model it relates to and what alternatives. As usual, it could be a mixture of a few of them. There could be a number of themes with topics underneath them, or there could be a spiral in there. So one, you know, when you get to week 4, it might spiral back round and recover and recap on some of the things, or there might be a theme at the end that encompasses all the topics you've just talked about. So the topics with the input, then the last week is a particular theme, say modern culture, and then it incorporates all the other themes, all the topics again in a different context and more depth. That's a bit of a thematic and a spiral kicking in there. So try and get all that out in your scheme of work and see what's happening. Chances are, again, it might be a mixture. It could be quite straightforward, but let's just see what happens. So make sure you annotate that. One thing to think about then at this point is also the quality assurance aspect of curriculum design. We've got in there a number of different curriculum models and now a set of different design models, each with the benefits and issues when it comes to quality assurance and quality improvement. Can you measure the effectiveness and impact of your curriculum on the learners? Not just the output, but also their experience. So how's that quality assurance maintained? How's the resource quality maintained? How's the effectiveness of the teachers and the quality of the teachers maintained? And then what's the quality improvement plan at the end? So is there a system at the end for evaluation? Some courses do module evaluations, so the learners complete a module evaluation form, or you might have course committees, or what is it that helps that quality improvement? Is there a course review with the teachers so they get together and say, right, what went well, what not so well, how can we design it better next time? So try and mention somewhere within the essay and or within the part 2 how quality assurance and quality improvement is developed within there as well. There is a bit at the end for a bit of forward reading and a bit of contemplation. Now, just be careful here because you're going to have time to discuss this in the final module, Developing Professional Practice. But here you've got a paradigm between professional and managerial ideologies when it comes to curriculum. So it's just a bit of an overview of how it links to curriculum design, and get ready to discuss that in the next module. You may be able to squeeze it in here, but it might be a bit difficult with the amount of time and word count you've got. But you've got a paradigm there where professionally, as a teacher, as an educator, as a practitioner, you know how the curriculum should be, or as a group of people you should be able to develop and design the effective curriculum. But that could be constrained or restricted by the managerial process, because they also have objectives, stakeholders and accountability, and it might restrict the curriculum that is actually delivered. So there's that paradigm that's fighting all the time in there. So it's worth thinking about that, maybe threading that somewhere through the essay if you can, but definitely think about it for the final module. So I hope the video helps, and good luck with that write-up, and we'll see how we get on.